Hello, hi, and Assalamualaikum everyone. Good day. It's Nurul Syafiqah here. So today I'm going to talk about dual language program DLP, its impact on education, and the future role of teachers. So DLP is actually one of Malaysia's most heated or debated education policies in Malaysia. Basically, DLP is a program which allows students to learn mathematics and the mathematics and science subjects, sorry, in English language rather than them solely learning the two subjects in Bahasa Malaysia. And this program has been widened to both primary school and also secondary schools. This policy actually bring both opportunities and challenges as well to our education system, particularly in how we handle socio-cultural diversity, because we know that Malaysia is made up of mixed races. We have Chinese, Malays, we have Indians, we have Kadazan Dusun, Iban, and many more. And it also brings challenges to the learning experience towards the students. It also brings out challenges towards teachers, where they have to keep on evolving and improvising their roles as teachers who will teach students in these two subjects. So throughout this presentation, I will be discussing several things, which is history and objectives of DLP, the implementation process in schools, the benefits and challenges of DLP faced by teachers and students, a few data analysis of DLPs that I can find that with its impact on learning, and what does those means to the future role of the next generation of teachers. So let's go. So actually, the idea of teaching the science and mathematics subject in the English language isn't something that is new in Malaysia. It actually started with PPSMI, which is the Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran Sains dan Matematik dalam Bahasa Inggeris. In 2003, PPSMI was actually a nationwide policy where all students had to learn science and maths in English, regardless of their background. So its main aim is to improve students' English proficiency and also prepare students for a globalized job market. However, it was abolished in around the year 2012 due to several concerns that rural students they struggle more due to their lack of English proficiency. Then teachers at that time was also lacked of proper training to teach science and maths in English, which makes lessons less effective. And Bahasa Malaysia was sidelined in scientific learning. Then, after PPSMI was removed and ended, the government introduced the initiative of MBM-MBI, which is Memartabatkan Bahasa Malaysia, Membekukuh Bahasa Inggeris, in around the year 2015, which emphasized strengthening of both BM, Bahasa Malaysia, and also English language. As part of this policy, actually, DLP was introduced in around the year 2015 to 2016 and is still being used until present. That but unlike PPSMI, the DLP was made optional, which means it is only certain schools could implement it. So some major key differences of both PPSMI and DLP is that PPSMI was compulsory for all schools in Malaysia, while DLP is optional and only selected schools are offered to conduct DLP program. That PPSMI at that time faced a very strong resistance, whereas DLP now allows more flexibility. So now let's look how the DLP program is implemented in schools. We can see that wait, okay. So the main subjects that is covered under DLP are science and maths, same as PPSMI. These subjects are chosen mainly because it it rely heavily on technical terms and also global references, which are mostly in English. So the eligibility criteria for schools that wants to conduct in DLP can be seen from this one letter by the Director General of Education Malaysia. Uh, the title is Surat Perkeliling Ikhtisas Pendidikan Malaysia Bilangan 8 2018. Dated on 5th October 2018, it states that not all schools can automatically implement DLP, and schools, based on this letter, must meet four conditions set by the Ministry of Education (MOE). That the conditions are: first is student demand. The parents and students must request for the program. If there are no demands, then the school cannot conduct the LP. And then teacher readiness. Teachers, there must be teachers that are proficient in English to teach the subject. School performance. The school must perform in Bahasa Malaysia and English very well, and that the schools must have adequate resources and sufficient materials to support DLP learning. For students, the LP starts in Standard 1 and Standard 4 in primary school, while in secondary national schools, it starts for Form 1. Students that don't want to take DLP can continue learning both subjects in Bahasa Malaysia or in Mandarin or Tamil for the vernacular schools. So, as I have mentioned, Malaysia is made up of many different races. We have socio-cultural diversity among us, and the education system is included very well. Um, our education system reflects this with national schools using Malay and vernacular schools using Mandarin or Tamil. Diversity can create both opportunities and challenges. While exposure to multiple language is beneficial, actually the language barriers can affect learning among students. So DLP aims to address this issue. One of its reason is to enhance English proficiency while still preserving Bahasa Malaysia as our national language. However, its implementation must also ensure fair access to students from different backgrounds. So let's talk about what are some of the benefits of DLP. DLP actually provides several key benefits, both in education and also in future career opportunities, especially for the learner or the student. So some of the benefits include improvement of English proficiency, increasing students' exposure to the language in academic context. Since science and maths are taught in English, students can get more exposure to the technical vocabulary that are being used in that subject, which will help them use English in uh, not only academic but also in real world context. Next, DLP can also prepare students for the global job market, where English is an essential language skills that students can equip themselves with. For example, when students want to go for job interview later on in the future, the job interview possibly might be conducted in English. So when the students are being exposed to English at a very young age, the language will not, hopefully not, be foreign to them when they have to speak in English. And then DLP also encourage bilingual learning, which can help students gain confidence when they can use Malay and English in different subjects. Their language knowledge and technical use might not be perfect, but at least they can conduct bilingual learning among themselves. And then DLP also enhances critical thinking and also problem solving skills among students, where by learning mathematics and science in English, students can gain access to a wider range of global resources, improving their higher order thinking skills, the HOTS. Other than that is global competitiveness. Many scientific and technological fields today use English as their primary language, mainly because many research in the world are conducted in those countries. So DLP can help prepare students for higher education and also global job market, as I have mentioned before. where English proficiency is a very huge advantage. And then is better access to information. We know that all this internet, IT, technical, digital world are mostly in English, so that when they have been exposed to English earlier, they might not be like, I know I do not understand this. I'm sorry, I cannot grasp what does this mean. I don't know. So then also when we go to higher learning education, we used journals, academic journals a lot, and many of them are being published in English language. So DLP students might have better access to these types of resources because they can understand it, which makes DLP make them more prepared for their higher education later on. Although there have been benefits of DLP, the DLP also comes with challenges as well. First is teacher competency, where teachers might not be ready to teach science and mathematics in in English. So the teachers today might require more learning in order to enhance their skills in teaching those two subjects in English language. And then is struggling students, especially in rural areas where not all students have strong foundations in English. Students living in the city might also have this type of problem because not every student have the ability to understand English. So students from rural areas or maybe the non-English speaking households may struggle to understand lessons that are conducted in English, which can affect their academic performance and their learning in the class. And then next is resource limitations. We especially comparing rural schools and schools in the city, rural schools often lacked proper materials such as maybe bilingual textbooks or the English textbooks, the tools used in labs, or maybe the ICT tools in computer labs, and also training programs which can put the students at the area at a disadvantage. And then is there is I think teacher shortage. This can be counted under teacher competency because not all science and mathematics teachers are fluent in English. Some teachers struggle in pronunciation, grammar, and also their fluency. Difficult to explain complex concepts clearly to the student when they are delivering the lesson. So next up, let's go into some researches that have been conducted about DLP so that we can look at its data analysis. On the year 2020, Ramli et al. Have investigated how the additional English exposure in DLP can influence students' grasp of English adjective. Sorry. So this study entitled "Effects of Dual Language Program DLP on the Usage of English Adjectives at Primary School Level in Malaysia" found out that DLP student does not show significant improvement in English adjective usage compared to their non-DLP peers. This suggests that simply increasing English exposure is maybe not enough, and that better instructional methods and also active engagement strategies are necessary that teacher have to do in order to improve real language improvement among students. So next, another study is by Suliman et al. About the school administrators' perceptions of DLP, where they conducted a survey among school administrators about what is their opinion about implementation of DLP, and their findings revealed that administrators generally very supportive of DLP because they believe that it plays a very crucial role in improving their students' English proficiency. However, they also pointed out that significant challenges such as limited resources, teacher training gaps, and the need for a more structured implementation are required. Then this study shows that DLP is beneficial, yes, but its success also depends on the availability of a proper support system in order to conduct DLP. Um, Third study is by Hassan and Daud in the year 2020, where they studied on the impact of DLP um, towards the knowledge attitudes of students that learns mathematics in English. It was revealed in that study that involved year two students in DLP and non-DLP classes. They found out that DLP students demonstrated a very strong grasp of mathematical concepts. And what's more interesting is that throughout this study, 91.2% of DLP students states that they enjoyed solving mathematical problems in English language, which shows a very high motivational levels of students who are in the DLP program. However, test scores were not very significant difference between them and the non-DLP students. That suggests that enthusiasm alone does not guarantee a better understanding. And additional learning support and tailored teaching strategies are very important to conduct DLP. While this is the data analysis from Hassan and Daud's 2020 study, many questions were conducted. These are several of it, where the questions ask students that if they are able to answer questions in English, and many of the students, 31 of the students, are so happy that they can answer uh, the question in English, and 29 students out of 34 students who were so happy that they get to attend mathematics class that is conducted by their teachers in English, and that 28 pupils out of 34 students were so happy that they could complete mathematics exercises as their homebooks in English language. These findings, this graph and the other three findings have highlighted that DLP has a very strong support and motivation from the students and school administrators. But challenges in implementing and its effectiveness of DLP still remains, which addressing these concerns will, I think, be the key of ensuring DLP's long-term success. And this image over here shows kind of the summary of the study that I have talked about previously. So next, let us go into the socio-cultural implications of DLP among students. Um, let's go on to the first question. Does DLP reduce the usage of Bahasa Malaysia usage? I think no, because um, there has been some arguments where people ask, doesn't teaching those two important subjects in English can cause students to use less Bahasa Malaysia in their learning lesson? I think no, because they are only using those language in those two subjects only, rather than comparing to all the other subjects that they are taking. So, other than mathematics, science, and English language class, students are actually free to use Bahasa Malaysia in during they are in the class. And then next is its impact on national identity. There are some critics that worry promoting English language too much can lead to a weaker connection of the students towards their Malaysian identity. However, there are another argument that states that bilingual proficiency is very important and it does not mean losing their national pride. It's just that it shows that the students are willing and able to learn other language other than their mother tongue or their L1. There are many countries like Singapore and also the Netherlands. They have successfully maintained their national language while embracing English for their own global advantages, and that is, I think, one of the reasons why they are able to move forward for their country because they can grasp the use of English without losing their national identity, where they have their own national language. And then we look at linguistic diversity and also equity. To ensure equity, we must provide equal support and also resources for all students. DLP in schools, it tends to be for schools in urban areas, it can make it more accessible for the privileged students. In contrast, students in rural areas might have fewer opportunities and face difficulties because maybe their limited English exposure at home would make them difficult to learn the two subjects. So to ensure equity, we must provide equal support and resources for all students regardless of their location of learning. So moving on to what teachers can do for the future of DLP, teachers' role can even be more critical in shaping student success and this program's success. First up, we can look in the teacher can enhance their bilingual teaching strategies, where teachers must adapt and also have an effort to refine their bilingual teaching methods so that students can grasp the key concepts in mathematics and science subject in both English and Malay without any problem. This also, I think, include code switching techniques, providing vocabulary support, and also incorporating interactive learning strategies and learning medium can make lessons more engaging for the students, that so that students can be more excited and attracted to learn. And then next is continuous professional development or CPD. To effectively teach in a DIP setting, teachers must themselves continuously upgrade their English proficiency as well as their pedagogical skills. More training programs, maybe more workshops or more peer collaborations among teachers should be conducted to support teachers that are not only for their professional growth, and then in return they can also help their students. Next is encouraging student engagement and also motivation. Since language barriers can sometimes make learning more difficult, teachers need to keep students involved through engaging activities or maybe real life examples and project based learning. Then next is utilizing technology that we have today for effective learning. Teacher can use interactive tools or educational applications and multimedia resources to make lessons more accessible and engaging for students. I think that by embracing these roles, teacher can bridge language gaps, boost students' confidence, and ensure that this DLP initiative remain an effective learning approach for the future generations. So we have come to the end of this presentation. I think that the DLP, to recap, first we recap first. The DLP was introduced with its main objective to enhance the English proficiency among students while also maintaining strong competency in their science and mathematics subjects. This program actually offers many benefits, such as improving their language skills. It can prepare students for the global job opportunities. It can boost their confidence, but it also have its own challenges, such as in terms of teacher preparedness. and then resource limitations, and also comprehension difficulty that is faced among students. So moving forward, teachers will always be the heart of DLP success, with continuous training by the teachers, with more effective teaching strategies, and also with more incorporation of technological usage. As teachers, we can ensure that DLP can remain beneficial for the future generations. And then ultimately, the proper implementation and support that is sufficient, DLP can become a very powerful tool to equip students with the skills that they need to thrive in this increasingly globalized world. So, thank you for listening to my presentation. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you. Bye.